Hello, I'm Ben Bland, and this is Around the World, your daily global news briefing. Today, why there are already long lines of voters outside US polling stations, are European efforts to tackle a second wave of COVID tough enough, and the stunning images of nature captured on camera. Record turnout is expected at this year's US election. Already there's an unprecedented number of people voting early due to the pandemic. Long lines have formed outside polling stations in states where voting has already begun, like in Texas. Far from put off, it seems most are determined and inspired to cast their ballot.
It's very, very, very important that everybody, regardless as to what, get out and vote today. Vote, vote, vote.
Even this heavily pregnant woman made it out for democracy.
Due tomorrow morning, so I was trying to decide, am I going to stay, or I wanted to go ahead and get my vote in and make it count.
Georgia is a state notorious for voting problems, and here a record number of people, almost 127,000, cast early ballots on day one, according to the state's vote counters. Meanwhile, Democrat challenger Joe Biden has campaigned in Florida. It's a key state the president must win to stay in the White House.
We win Florida, and it's all over.
Taking aim at the president's pandemic strategy, he had a simple message for seniors who could flip the state blue.
Because Donald Trump, it's simple. Not a joke. You're expendable. You're forgettable. You're virtually nobody. That's how he sees seniors.
Mr. Biden says the president's downplaying of the virus puts Florida's elderly residents at particular risk.
One of the things that makes me most angry is Trump and others have implied, well, it's only the old sick people. We can get rid of them. It's not a problem. Those 220,000 old sick people, and they were not all old and sick, they all have relatives, have family, have friends.
Parts of Europe are seeing a rapid rise in COVID infections, but governments are struggling to strike a balance between fighting the virus, protecting economies, and enforcing restrictions. The Netherlands, which has one of the worst surges, is imposing a month-long partial lockdown. The Czech Republic has announced the closure of schools, bars and clubs for 3 weeks. And in England, a new 3-tier alert system is in force, with millions facing extra curbs. But these measures are controversial. In the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson is facing rebellion within his own party. Some say the measures are too tough and will devastate small businesses, bars and restaurants. But the opposition says he hasn't gone far enough and that a temporary national lockdown is needed. In Spain's capital, Madrid, after a summer of relative freedom, there's now a state of emergency. But with restrictions appearing to chop and change, people are growing tired.
Pero no lo entiendo, pero porque no sé qué es lo que puedo hacer, lo que no puedo hacer. Estoy hecha un lío, la verdad. Y vamos a salir, no sé si salir para un lado, para otro.
Well, there's a lot happening elsewhere too. Here are some other big stories that have caught our eye. Australia's Great Barrier Reef has lost more than half of its corals since 1995 due to warmer seas driven by climate change. Scientists found reef populations had dropped by more than 50% in all coral sizes and species. The researchers say greenhouse gas emissions need to be reduced sharply. Twitter has suspended a number of fake accounts pretending to be owned by black supporters of President Trump. The accounts were posting similar or identical tweets like, "Yes, I'm black and I'm voting for Trump." Twitter hasn't specified who's behind them and how many there are, but one account was caught after a new profile picture gave it away. The largest unexploded World War II bomb ever found in Poland has detonated while it was being defused. Fortunately, all the divers involved were unharmed, and the area's 750 residents had already been evacuated. Just before we go, nature is incredibly difficult to capture on camera, so the winners of the Wildlife Photographer of the Year Awards have done something extraordinary. Here are some of the best images. Absolutely stunning, aren't they? Well, that's it for today. If you like the show, tell your friends and also tap the follow button below so you get a notification as soon as the next episode's available. See you tomorrow.